Arieforce One is a brand new RMC coaster at Fun Spot Atlanta in Fayetteville, Georgia. A few days ago, I rode this coaster 37 times, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. Today, I'll be reviewing the ride and going in depth about what you can expect from it. This is my complete review of Arieforce One. This coaster's layout is absolutely insane. It starts with a drop right out of the station and pulls into two quick bunny hills, which actually gives some very solid whip in the back rows. Then it pulls up a 154-foot tall lift hill before plummeting down an 83-degree drop. This drop gives some very sustained ejector in every row, and it feels like it's 90 degrees. After that, you pull up into your first of four inversions. The Raven Trust Dive is a first-of-its-kind element which rockets up, banks one way, then flips you under yourself the other way. This element has some very intense whip that I was not expecting. After that, you go into a very sharp speed hill. Compared to the one on Steel Vengeance, this element is very tight, so it gives some extremely sharp ejector. After that, you get whipped into North America's longest 0G stall. This stall feels like it lasts forever, and I was even able to play a game of rock, paper, scissors against my friend while being upside down. Don't ask me if I won though, because I didn't. After the stall is, in my opinion, where the ride goes from a mid-tier RMC to one of the best coasters in the world. You fly into an outer bank over the station. Although this element isn't as long as the outer bank on Steel Vengeance, it's much more powerful, and in my opinion, much better. After that, you do a slight turn before going into a double up. The first hill is a quick pop of very solid ejector, but the second hill, you are digging into your strain for 3 seconds, and your body's trying so hard not to get flung into space. After that is a large drop, which gives some very sustained ejector before going into the arcade roll and fakey airtime moment. Now these elements are very different, but I grouped them together because they all flow like one element. The drop gives very great speed for the whippy arcade roll, and the arcade roll makes it to where you can flow into the fakey airtime very well. After that, you go into a low-to-the-ground turn, which really pulled some solid forces. Then you go into another low-to-the-ground barrel roll, just like the arcade roll. At this point, the ride is probably the third best RMC, but these last two elements kick it into overdrive. You pop up into a solid moment of ejector before the quad down. This element is my favorite element on the ride by a long shot, and it might just be my favorite element ever. You hit 4 straight ejector hills, each more powerful than the last. I've heard many people say that the quad down is too much airtime, and in the back row, I agree. I still have bruises on my legs from this element. But in the front row, the airtime is close to perfect. Every hill puts a smile on my face a little bit more than the last. After that, you pop up and slam into the brakes really abruptly. The final 15 seconds of this ride are truly amazing. We know the layout is great, but what about the theming? Considering the fact this is a Fun Spot park, I was not expecting theming, but I was pleasantly surprised to see that there were tons of details in the queue and station. The station had banners and a sequence of words that played when the restraints locked and when the train dispatched. It's nowhere near what I would call amazing theming, but whenever parks put at least a little thought in making their rides themed, I really appreciate it. The color scheme on this ride is amazing. It's easy as that. It's one of the most beautiful coasters in the world, and I don't really think I have to explain why. I mean, just look at it. Of course, coasters need to be intense, but they're also made to be fun. The whole ride is just so much fun. The only part I would say that wasn't all that fun was the quad down, just because it was a lot. But still a great element, and the rest of the ride is extremely fun. Arieforce One is a top-tier coaster. It's simple as that. Fun Spot and RMC truly have created a masterpiece. After riding it 37 times in one day, I've made the decision that this ride is great, but it's not the best. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely up there with Iron Gwazi, but I just don't think it's better. Right now it's resting safely in my number 2 spot, and the fact that it beat out rides like Steel Vengeance and Montu means that it's amazing. For a final score, I give it a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because after a while, the quad down puts your thighs in unbearable pain. But hey, even if it hurts during some elements, I can't deny that it's an amazing ride.